Hi, everyone. Welcome to another training session. And for today's topic, I would like to talk about what are the common factors why our prospects say yes or no. I'm sure we're all buyers and we also go through the same sets of emotions before we decide to buy or before we even decline. So today I want to go through the types of emotions or the common emotions all of us experience when we are in the midst of buying or not buying. So let's go through those emotions and see if you guys can relate on this. So let's talk about the negative emotions that we go through or we feel while we are in the middle of a transaction or in the middle of being assisted. And as buyers, these are the emotions that are deciding factor for us whether we're going to give it a go or a pass. So the top three emotions I could think of that are negative, more on the negative side, would be frustrated. Customers, whether you're buying or you are just inquiring, the most common or the top emotion, top negative emotion that we have is frustration. Number two, angry. Frustration, and then you became angry because you're frustrated and you're not getting what you're looking for, or you're not really um, receiving what you're expecting to receive. Then the next emotion is angry. Another emotion most clients or customers feel is ignored. So, as a customer myself, these top three common factors when I'm deciding to buy or not, if these three emotions are present in me at that particular situation, chances are I'm going to say no or I'm going to decline the offer because I can't make a decision. I can't buy something if the feeling of frustration, anger is more than the positive feelings that I would have that would lead me to saying yes. So, now let's talk about the positive emotions that we have or that we experience while in the middle of a transaction or in the middle of the buying process. Number one, satisfied. Satisfied customer. That's why every satisfied customer leaves with a smile after they made a purchase or after they signed up a contract or any agreement, because satisfaction is a very good emotion for someone who's to decide to get or not to get. Next emotion, guys, will be appreciated. We know as customers or as prospects that when we're talking to a salesperson, we are very aware that they are there to promote something to us, they're there to sell something to us. But to feel that on top of that, being transactional, feeling appreciated is another positive feeling that, when felt during the selling process, would lead to a yes. Next one is assisted. Now, whenever we feel as a customer, whenever we feel assisted, we feel somehow that the customer service or a telemarketer or an agent, we feel that they deserve to get the business. Say, for instance, in my case, just to share with you, when we were moving from one condo to another, we had this fantastic agent, and she does everything that she can for us. Even the scope outside finding a place, she goes out of her way to assist us, whether it's a small inquiry or whether us um, being reminded of, don't forget to file your request for this and that. As a customer, I feel that there's no one else that we would speak to who deserves the business except that agent because we felt assisted. So, in today's topic, it's really going around the topic of, as a customer, what are the emotions that I feel that would make me say yes or no to the consultant, to the telemarketer, to the agent, and the reverse of that. So now that we identify the top or the common emotions that are factors to our decision making, whether we're going to get it or we're not going to get it, I just want to give you a couple of tips that would hopefully help us as telemarketer to manage those emotions, and if possible, minimize the negative emotion and increase the positive emotions. So, tip number one, being a good listener to fully identify the issues. So, this is applicable to telemarketers who are doing customer service. Now, if you've been assisted by a customer service over the phone, whether it's in the banking industry or hospitality industry, you realize that at the end of each call, usually they would say, "Do you mind giving me uh, an assessment or do you mind participating on the survey? Like, how did I go on serving you?" The purpose of that is obviously for training purposes and to navigate the communication skill and the ability of that particular customer service to identify the issues on that particular client. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is in order to avoid the feelings, the negative feelings that I've mentioned earlier, such as frustration, angry, all these things, number one tip that I would give you is to be a good listener and fully identify the issues. It's one thing to listen, but also while you're listening, you're carefully figuring out what is the issue with this particular client. Now, second tip, guys, when my telemarketer makes me feel that what matters to me matters the most, to minimize again the feeling of frustration, which is a very big factor why buyers end up saying no or ended up saying no, is when they get frustrated all throughout the transaction process. Now, to minimize that and to avoid that from happening, the most important feeling you can give to the client is that what matters to him matters most. And this is going back again to one of the videos where I talked about finding the need, qualifying the customer, really understanding what he likes, and not just talk about what you have to offer him. This will minimize the feeling of frustration, the feeling of, oh, you just need the sale from me. Oh, you don't really care about what I'm looking for. This is really something that causes the anger feeling or the feeling of anger. So, to avoid that from being present in your sales transaction, please make sure that you take note of remembering that the priority is understanding what matters to him is what really matters the most. Now, the third one, guys, is when my telemarketer offers me solutions to my needs or to my issues. Now, this one is very interesting because if you're telemarketing, you're basically saying, I am offering you the solution for your needs. So let me give you a scenario. So, for example, I am promoting a hotel membership. And by doing that, I have to stick to the process of identifying the needs of the client, right? So once you identify the needs of the client, what comes next is you're presenting the benefits in in your package or in your program that would serve as a solution or as solutions to your client's lifestyle. For instance, if you're promoting a membership card and if he uses his card frequently, he generate or he earn points, reward points that would give him complimentary upgrade, or for example, that would give him some reward system. So that is a classic example of going to the positive feeling. You're basically lifting the feeling of appreciated satisfaction feeling of your client. So again, go back to the emotions that we went through very earlier on, the negative and the positive. Your goal as a telemarketer is to make sure you minimize the negative feelings, and you obviously want to increase the happy or the positive feelings during the sales transaction. Now, second to the least, when my telemarketer allows me to have options and willingness to adjust. So what that is okay. So for example, you are a um, appointment setter, right? So as an appointment setter doing telemarketing, your main task is to generate as many confirmed appointments as possible. Now, to do that, you have to be equally effective on the phone as much as someone doing cold calling, as much as someone doing customer care. All of these different methods of telemarketing has one same intention: to keep the business, to get the business, and not to lose the business. So, what this simply means is, as an appointment setter, it is important that you are able to, or willing, that you're showing that you're willing to adjust to the client you're speaking to. And at the same time, you're able to provide options that would suit his or her availability. And this again will go to those positive feelings that I've mentioned earlier on, such as satisfied, um, and thankful. Because when the client feels like, oh, you're willing to adjust for him or you're giving options, chances are that person will feel satisfied and thankful. And what leads after that? What where does it lead you? To a sale. So again, any negative emotions will block you from making a sale. Any good feelings or good emotions that you trigger on your presentation only leads you to that sale that you've been trying to close all along. So I hope that today's topic gives you a bit of reflection, or gives you a chance to reflect on, okay, am I tapping on the good emotions or the bad emotions? And again, the good emotions and bad emotions I've mentioned earlier are just sample emotions or top emotions as a customer when they're dealing with a telemarketer or when they're speaking as a customer. So please take note of that. And I really hope that this also allows you to not just be technical about selling, it's also the emotional part of it and putting yourself in the shoe of the client or the prospect. Because at the end of the day, we are all buyers. And no buyers will buy if they're frustrated, they're angered, they feel like they're not assisted, and they feel like they're pushed on the side. You're not going to buy if you have those emotions. So let's work on really mindfully promoting those positive feelings and triggering those positive feelings, so that would lead us or lead you to making more sales. So I hope today's topic, today's tips hopefully help you to have a little bit of new ideas, and I hope that you enjoyed today's training. Again, thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for sharing all the training videos to your friends, to your colleagues, and I look forward to our next video. For now, enjoy the beautiful day and sending positive energy to all of you. Bye for now, everyone. Thanks again.